Okay. Shall we continue? Journalists, colleagues, good morning. Join with us here, Her Excellency Minister of Finance, Minister Sri Mulyani Indrawati, President Asian Development Bank, Mr. Masatsugu Asakawa, Vice President Asian Development Bank, Mr. Ahmed Sid, Head of Fiscal Policy Agency, Ministry of Finance, Mr. Febrio Kacaribu, President Director of PT SMI as Indonesia ETM Country Platform Manager, Mr. Edwin Charuzat, and lastly, Deputy President Director PT PLN, Mr. Darmawan Prasojo. Without further ado, I would like to invite Her Excellency Mr. Sri Mulyani to say a few words, giving a brief summary on today's event in Indonesia ETM Country Platform Grand Launching, followed by Mr. Asakawa. Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Bu Buspa. Okay. As we see today that the government of Indonesia has officially launched, I think it's not working. Can I have this one? Okay. Thank you. As we can see today that the government of Indonesia officially launched the Energy Transition Mechanism or ETM country platform. This is a key climate change framework for driving the country in a just and affordable transition, especially in the energy sector. The launching of the ETM country platform is one of our concrete effort by the government of Indonesia through the Ministry of Finance, working closely with Ministry of Energy, with coordinating Minister of Investment and Maritime in addressing the climate change impact which is happening. As we all know, Indonesia is committed to the Paris Agreement that is ratified in 2016, and we even has already enhanced our nationally determined contribution in which reducing our greenhouse emission by 31.89% on 2030 with our own resources and 43% in 2030 with international support. Indonesia ETM country platform is a blended finance approach that can be leveraged to accelerate the transition from fossil fuel to clean energy. The government of Indonesia has appointed PT SMI, Sarana Multi-Infrastructure, as our country platform manager of the ETM. This is to continue developing the financing as well as investment framework because this need to be continued tested in the real concrete project case. To reach the emission reduction, PTSMI will collaborate with various institutional partners that you just witnessing in terms of the MOU. First, on the grant partners, consists of Bloomberg Philanthropies and Climate Works Foundation, Global Energy Transition Initiative, UK Mentari, Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet. On the financing partner, we have ADB support, Islamic Development Bank, World Bank, HSBC, Standard Chartered, and Japan Bank for International Cooperation. For the knowledge as well as technical partner, we have USAID, United States Agency for International Development, Global Green Growth Institute, Climate Policy Initiative, United Nations Development Program or UNDP, Rocky Mountain Institute, and Climate Bonds Initiative. And our investment partner in this case, beside PTSMI, is Indonesia Investment Authority. Of course, we also, in this case, rely on PLN leadership, Pak Darmawan Prasojo over here, who's going to actually engage directly with many of these ETM. Following our technical assessment and discussion, the government of Indonesia has already identified more than 15 gigawatt of CFPPs for early retirement. The first step is actually how we are going to determine near-term and meaningful action to accelerate the transition from fossil fuel to clean energy. The government of Indonesia is working with our international partner, including multilateral institution and bilateral institution, philanthropists, private investors for making a just and affordable energy transition. As I mentioned earlier, that the Climate Investment Fund Governing Board, one of the world's largest multilateral fund for climate action in developing country, has recently endorsed $500 million of highly concessional fund to Indonesia. This one will mobilize more than 4 billion of financing to accelerate the retirement of up to 2 gigawatt from the short list of the coal-fired power plant. And this will reduce 50 million tons of carbon dioxide emission by 2030 and 160 million tons by 2040. Indonesia ETM country platform will provide a very strong signal to the Asia and Pacific as well as to the world that Indonesia is committed and consistently and credibly try to deliver our commitment for just and affordable energy, fossil fuel to clean energy. The ETM country platform also creating institutional and regulatory readiness for Indonesia to attract new and significant investment in our energy sector. It is really a very great work for all, from all parties, and I thank you for all, especially President Asakawa, that is discussing, then preparing and launching this ETM to support Indonesia. Thank you so much.
Okay, next me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, media colleagues, for your interest, and Minister Sri Mulyani for your continued friendship and collaboration. I am very proud of the agreements we announced today. Let me take a few moments here to highlight what a significant accomplishment it is to launch Indonesia's ETM country platform. The new country platform reflects 4 key drivers of effective climate action: leadership, partnership, finance, and political will. With this platform, we can focus on delivering tangible progress in the energy transition. As you may know, our aim to reach net zero carbon emissions in the energy sector by mid-century. ADB and Indonesia are dedicated partners in this effort. The country platform framework provides clear avenues to deepen our cooperation significantly. We have already planned over $2 billion support the Indonesia energy transition. With co-financing from private partners over the next 5 years, we can mobilize twice this amount. The financing will support the investment in the energy transition and the development of enabling policies. And so, my friends, along with the other agreement you witnessed today, and ones which we'll hear about in the days to come, the Indonesia ATM country platform is a true milestone in the just transition, from coal to clean and affordable energy for Indonesia. ADB is here to support Indonesia's very promising work and the model that it offers to our region. Thank you.
Thank you. We'd like now to take questions from the audience. Okay, Mega, who else? Okay, you from Republika.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Ibu. The first question is about how much the commitment value to this ATM, and then what's your commitment to attract the investor to invest in energy transition? Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, the commitment in terms of financing from the ETM, it's really depend on how we are going to develop. We started with this 2 gigawatt, which is then attracting a real commitment of 500 million that can be leveraged into $4 billion. Of course, the potential, as I mentioned earlier, 15 gigawatt will require a much more detailed work out when and what is possible or feasible financially, as well as from the strategic PLN own energy security in Indonesia. When we talk about the affordable and just transition, should not also, in this case, sacrificing the energy security in Indonesia. So it's so many other that we can discuss about the value, and that can be developed further. As I mentioned also, there is a Just Energy Transition Program, JETP, that is going to be announced by Bapak Presiden. This is going to complementing with our ETM, because that is going to be the funding that can work for supporting energy transition mechanism.
Okay, thank you. Next question.
Hello, Ibu. My question is, will this ETM deliver to the regulation that is can be increase the confidence of investor?
Well, by providing the ETM, actually we are providing a more transparent platform. Maybe President Asakawa can also jump into this. By providing a country platform ETM, all stakeholders, this is the financier from the MDBs, bilateral, private sector in this case, they will look at the same, what is exactly first, the regulatory framework to make this energy transition happen. What does it cost? Who's going to pay? Where they can contribute? Because as I said, when we're discussing about energy transition, there is an element of technical knowledge, transaction, advisors, real money, subsidy, so that it will make sense from the PLN point of view, as I mentioned, that this just and affordable transition should not make the PLN financial situation worsen. It should make PLN healthier, but also at the same time, the CO2 emission significantly reduced, and also from the cost of energy in Indonesia should be also more efficient and competitive, because then at the end people and the business is going to buy those energy, so it should be affordable. And that's why this is exactly how we use this ETM to actually go down to a very detailed win-win-win solution. That is win for the PLN financially, win for the people as well as the economy in terms of cheap or competitive energy, but clean one, and win for the world because we are reducing the CO2 emission. Okay, President Asakawa maybe can add to what is the regulatory framework that is going to be able to attract from this ETM to the potential financier.
Yes, thank you, Sri Mulyani. Well, actually, regulatory framework is really necessary to be reformed to attract more and more private sector investors. So we are more than happy to continuously discuss with the Indonesian government to improve a regulatory framework here to achieve that target. But another thing I'd like to emphasize here is just transition. Of course, we have to always bear in mind just transition in applying ETM to Indonesia and other countries as well. And in order to do so, affected people, affected region, they should be really protected from any adverse impact coming from energy transition like ETM. And also they need to be provided access to benefit of transition, for example, through the skills upgrade for the green jobs and so on. So we adopted the new energy policy last year, which clearly committed the ADB to assist just transition, support just transition for all the people in the affected communities. That cannot be forgotten as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. One more last questions from the audience. Who? Okay, Wibi from
Minister,
Business.
President, I'm Wibi from Business Indonesia newspaper. A short question: why government choose the coal plant in Cirebon, and what is the next plan for the next coal plant?
Maybe that question fit with Pak Darmo to answer. Pak Darmo, the question is why the Cirebon power plant. Why don't you answer? Sini Pak Darmo.
Thank you so much, and it's an honor to be here. Under the great leadership of the Minister Sri Mulyani, we are able to build the energy transition mechanism country platform. You know, the PLN effort on this is depending on the certainty of the regulations, certainty of the investment, and environment conducive for the additional investment, both the early retirement of coal and also the development of renewable energy. We already removed 13 gigawatt of coal in the planning phase, avoiding 1.8 billion metric tons of CO2 in the span of 25 years. And we have an aggressive plan of development of renewable energy. But you know how we're going to walk the talk here. So we need to make more space for renewable energy to enter our ecosystem by early retiring of coal-fired power plants. In that regard, we need to deploy global communities to invest on this magnificent effort. And this energy transition and country platform is the way to move forward. Before, there is some kind of uncertainty, some kind of fragmented strategy, but with this energy transition mechanisms, country platform, we shift from fragmented strategy to become unified strategy. And we, under the leadership of Ibu Sri Mulyani here, and also the Asian Development Bank, we come up with a plan. 6.7 gigawatt of coal is going to be early retired under this scheme. Those before 2030, roughly 3.7 gigawatt, and another 3.6 gigawatt is after the 2030. And in that regard, this IPP going to be retired under this scheme. The Cirebon is only the first stage. It's only the first milestone. We have a roadmap in which we're going to scale things up at the larger scale and deploy much larger fund, in which with this kind of country platform, we have a very well-founded, very well-defined platform, both at the finance, also the technical, and also to make sure that the investment is going to be commercially viable for some sort, and also some kind of grant for some other type of power plant. So in that regard, we really want to say thank you, the magnificent leadership of Ibu Sri Mulyani here. This is only a beginning. The battle has just begun. Thank you, Ibu.
Okay. That answer concludes our session. So thank you, Minister Sri Mulyani. Thank you, Mr. Asakawa, and the journalists. So thank you. Stay well. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.